Welcome back to episode 8 of Go Chat. Thank you guys all for the support through 1 through 7. We have our favorite segment to start out. It's the go to the number. We're on number 8. Tommy, who is the go of the number 8?
Well, of course it's Yogi Berra. One of the best Yankees of all time. I say it every week, but he truthfully is. He won 10 World Series with the Yankees, Hall of Famer. He's a 3-time MVP. Really great catcher for the Yankees. Over 2,100 hits, 368 home runs, 285 career hitter. Really consistent behind the plate there. And like I said, he helped the Yankees win 10 World Series, and he actually won 3 as a manager as well, with different teams. But yeah, one of the best baseball players of all time, Yogi Berra.
Connor, what's your number 8?
I'm also going to go baseball, but it's not going to be Yogi Berra. I'm going to go Cal Ripken Jr. He was a 19-time All-Star, 2-time MVP. He's most notably known for playing 2,632 consecutive games, which, I mean, that's one of the records that will always live in the MLB history book. No one is ever going to break that. He won 2 Gold Gloves. He was an 8-time Silver Slugger. He had 3,000 career hits. He has a 95.9 WAR, which is wins above replacement. I mean, he was the ideal baseball player back in the 80s and 90s. He was consistent, and he was there for you every day. I really think that he is the go to the number 8.
Awesome. What about you, Mike?
Listen, this might be a little bit of a homer pick, but I got to go with my man, Troy Aikman. He won 3 Super Bowls. He was a 6-time Pro Bowler, and he made it to the Hall of Fame. He's not necessarily a stat padder, so his stats aren't that great, but the fact of the matter is he led a great team to 3 Super Bowls, and winning is what matters most in sports. So my go to the number 8 is Troy Aikman.
Can we have one episode without Dallas, just please?
Okay, what are you talking about, Dallas? Look at Tommy with the Yankees player with a baseball player 1 through 8.
Yeah, but you can't. I mean, I can't help it. These are some of the best players of all time. Even the musical man.
I mean, I'm not blaming you, but Connor can't come at me with that if he's not going to talk to Tommy about that. I mentioned Dallas one time this episode.
Yeah, but
Aikman, that's it. Just give me a break. Cut me some slack, man. Like, gosh.
Matt, why don't you give us your go to the number 8?
All right. Well, I'm different from all you guys. This is probably the first time we all disagreed. Just a little background. Every week I do research, much like you guys, to find an athlete who wore the number of the episode we're on. Obviously, we're on 8. And I think that personally, women athletes, I never see them. And I don't think they're looked as highly as male athletes for being like a greatest to wear this number. So that's why I'm going to go with Julie Ertz, okay? She's a 28-year-old from Santa Clara. She played at Santa Clara, product from Mesa, Arizona. I have a lot of stats on her, so you guys could just take a seat and listen. We knew that she was a star in the U.S. Women's National Team system as she captained the U20 team to the World Cup, winning the bronze ball, and then led that same team to win the CONCACAF Women's Championship in 2012 and finished that year off with the U.S. Women's Young Female Player of the Year at the age of 20. I mean, that's 2 more years than me, 1 more year than Tommy, I know that. And then she was drafted 3rd overall in the NWSL, the Chicago Stars, and won the Rookie of the Year in the NWSL. Fast forward to 2015. We all know that was the World Cup year. She just made the cut, actually, for the U.S. Women's National Team to play in the World Cup. She was the 2nd youngest player on the team, 23 years old, in the World Cup. And she played every minute of the 7 games and was named on the World Cup All-Star team. We go even further. 2017. Julie Ertz changed position. Thank you, Mike. She changed positions from center back, which is the defensive line, if you guys don't know soccer, to the center midfield for club and international, where she flourished in her new position quickly and won the U.S. Soccer Female Player of the Year in 2017. 2018, she won the Golden Ball, which is kind of the MVP for like a tournament for the CONCACAF Women's Championship. And then obviously in 2019, I've talked about it before, she was a key part of the World Cup winning U.S. team and won the U.S. Soccer Player of the Year, beating out Megan Rapinoe and Alex Morgan, two amazing players who won the Golden Ball, Golden Boot, and Silver Boot in the tournament. She is also the 10th player to win that award multiple times, but she's the only one that won the Young Female Player of the Year beforehand, like I mentioned, in 2012. So she's obviously had potential since she was young. She's one of the best ball winners to ever play. She can play wherever she is needed in the field, obviously, and she can miraculously connect with her head at any given cross. I mean, I remember watching the She Believes Cup this past March 8th in the 87th minute. Scoreless game, Kristen Press, she kicks a free kick, and the parade of players in the penalty area, and Julie Ertz just headed it into the net, and they won against Spain 1-0. And then also in the 2019 World Cup against Chile, Julie Ertz just casually hits it with the back of her head and nets it in for a goal. And, I totally understand that because she's national, she's worn 3 different numbers, 19. She started with 19, then went to 2, and now her current number is 8. I just think that a player with her caliber and, the player that I know her for, and winning those 2 Player of the Years is when she wore 8. And then obviously we talked off the field beforehand. Off the field, her and her husband, Mike knows her husband very well, the Philadelphia Eagles tight end, Zach Ertz. They launched the Ertz Family Foundation in 2018, empowering others by sharing faith, learning through sports, and advancing education to build supportive communities. Yes, I totally understand. She's not like Kobe. She's not like Steve Young. She's not like Troy Aikman. She's not Ripken Jr., Yogi Berra, whatever you guys said. But she is one of the most underrated and hardworking soccer players who was a key piece to the historic U.S. national team this past year. And I want to end this long rant with this. At the parade in New York City last year, after the World Cup, Robin Roberts introduced the players, and she called Julie the physical engine of the U.S. team, and I can't agree with that anymore. And obviously, I hope you guys know that you can't drive a car without an engine. She was just a big key piece to this national team. Done. I'm done.
Okay, before you say another word, how much of that did she accomplish as the number 8? You mentioned she wore 2 other numbers. Do you know, did she just switch to number 8 this year, or did she?
No. So when I mentioned she won the 27, I think it was 2017 because she won the U.S. Soccer Female Player of the Year as number 8, and then she's been 8 through on. So the World Cup, so I'm pretty sure 2017 was the start, maybe 2016.
Okay. I mean,
I really think mentioning her is a huge step. We've talked about the women's national soccer team, I think, once this episode, but I mean, we're all at fault for not talking about the women's sports just in general as much. And I think you mentioning Julie Ertz here is, I mean, she's overall, I mean, you mentioned all of her accomplishments. It's a great pick for go to the number 8. And I think it's just really overall, she's a very good athlete. And I think she is the emblem of a GOAT.
Yeah, I agree 100% with all you. Oh, I'm sorry, Mike. Did I cut you off?
No, go ahead.
Oh, I agree with all of you. I think you all had very good picks, and yeah, Julie Ertz, great player. And I think they're all very deserving.
Mm-hmm. I think all these athletes are great, but I just think one thing about Julie Ertz, I think if it was like her whole career as like the number 8, then I think her argument now is still really good. She's accomplished already so much as a number 8, only like a couple of years. But I think the thing is that she hasn't worn number 8 throughout her whole career. I think that's the reason why we didn't pick Kobe for number 8, because I think if we were just like encapsulating all the accomplishments as a player, as they wore one number instead of another, then I think Julie Ertz would have a better case to be the GOAT of the number 8. But regardless, she's accomplished a lot, and she's one of the most well-regarded athletes in women's sports. So,
yeah, I agree with you with that too. I feel very passionately about, I'm a huge fan of hers. I've made like a little documentary short film, but that's I haven't yet published that, but that's something else. But yeah, I knew she was fitting for the 8. And that's why I didn't tell you guys beforehand too.
As always, I think we've all thrown out great athletes. This is the first week that we've all disagreed, but I think that's good for the show, because it's given out those extra names of who we really think are those GOATs, and I really think it's good. Any last thoughts from anyone on anyone's GOAT? All right, well then we'll be right back. Welcome back to Goat Chat. We are here after discussing the GOAT of the number 8, and we are jumping into another topic. It's going to be a topic that's called biggest rivalries. So we all are sports fans, obviously, and what does a sports fan love more than a brawl? Whether it's on the hockey rink, players throwing their gloves, whether it's on the baseball field, batters getting hit with a ball and then charging the mound, a football, someone getting an unnecessary hit, and it's all between these rival teams. So, I mean, I just want to get a thought from everyone who they think is the biggest rivalry in all of sports. Mike, I'll start with you.
Well, I feel like it just has to be Robin Lopez versus every single mascot in the NBA. I mean, he just goes off on every single mascot. I mean, he's just dangerous. But all jokes aside, I think I'm gonna have to go with the Celtics-Lakers rivalry. Classic rivalry in the NBA, goes back to the 80s and then recently in the 2000s, 2010s with Kobe and Paul Pierce. I think it's just such a historic rivalry. Even goes back to the days with Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain. I feel like it's kind of hard to beat that. Just the historic importance and impact it had on society. I mean, let's be honest. If it wasn't for Larry and Magic going back and forth in the NBA Finals, where would the NBA be today? We have no idea. So I think that is probably the greatest rivalry in all sports.
Tommy, we all probably know which rivalry you're going to go with, considering the background of your room right now. But just go for it.
Well, of course, it's Yankees-Red Sox. I mean, I think that's the best rivalry in all of sports, hands down. I don't even think it's close. The Yankees lead that season series just by a little bit, 1,216 games to 1,020. And the Yankees also lead 12-11 in postseason games. And we all know that the Yankees overall as a franchise have had a lot more success than Boston. But, I mean, you think about every season, those are the biggest 19 games that the Yankees and Red Sox play every season. The Yankees or Red Sox, they could be in the opposite on the standings board. You know, one could be in first, one could be in last. And those are still huge games. Everybody comes out for it. The fans get fired up. The players get fired up. And you think about all the people that have played on both sides of the rivalry. Obviously, Babe Ruth, he started the curse. And that was really what started the rivalry. Johnny Damon, Wade Boggs. Those are two players that have won for both the Yankees and the Red Sox. Well, I'm sorry, Wade Boggs, I don't think won a World Series with Boston, did with the Yankees. But there's so many great games, and you talked about brawls at the beginning of the segment. 2 years ago with Tyler Austin, Joe Kelly. I know everybody loved that. So that's what I'm going to go with, but I have another one as well. The Dodgers and the Giants, that's another big rivalry in baseball. And the Giants lead that season series by only 23 games, 1,256 to 1,233. And those are, you know, it's pretty similar to Yankees Red Sox. It's definitely not on that level. But, you know, those are the 19 biggest games of the year for the Dodgers and Giants. And it's kind of the equivalent on the West Coast. They've had a lot of good battles over the years, so that would be my second rivalry.
Pat, who's your biggest rivalry in all of sports?
I'm going to give you my first one, and then I'll open it up and maybe I'll mention my second one later. But I think the biggest rivalry is Duke-UNC basketball. Just to give you some background, they met 252 times. UNC actually leads it 139 to 114. It's just always a tight matchup. And you even look at this year, UNC was an awful team. Like, they were tied for last in the ACC. They still kept the game tight. I'm pretty sure they were leading most of it. You guys correct me if I'm wrong. And then it was an overtime loss. UNC lost in overtime by 2 against the number 7 Duke squad. So, I mean, like, UNC was an awful team, but they still only lost by 2. I mean, that's just something to look at. And then both teams are obviously ridiculously good. We know that. I mean, dating back from 1988 to 2001, every Final Four was either one of them, except one of them. So dating back from those years, only one of those Final Fours did not have either Duke or UNC. And then when you look at the fans, I mean, you go to a UNC fan and you're wearing Duke, he hates your guts. Like, you're probably going to get beat up, and vice versa, obviously. And then, I'm thinking about back to the great games, 2012, I think it was, where Austin Rivers hits the game winner to beat UNC as time expires. And then even last year with all the Zion hype, and then first 30 seconds, he gets injured. And then UNC obviously takes advantage of that and knocks off the number one Duke team. And then in the ACC tournament, Zion comes back and scores 31 heroic points to beat UNC. I mean, it's always going to be a tight game, and you never know what's going to happen during those games. And they're just always fun to watch. Me being an SU fan, I hate both teams, but I love watching it.
So I'm going to mention my biggest rivalry. Mine's also college, but it's going to be football. It's Ohio State versus Michigan. The teams every year, they always meet, and it's the last game of each team's season, and it's always high tensions. People at Ohio State, students that week, they don't even mention Michigan's name. Their social medias don't mention Michigan's name. They block out the M in every single post they do, and they consider them the team up north. Coaches call them that, everything. I remember one of Urban Meyer's press conferences from a few years back when he was still the coach. I mean, he talked about Michigan for 25 minutes and never once mentioned the word Michigan. It was always the team up north, or TTUN, or whatever. I mean, Michigan does lead the series 58-51, and they have tied 6 times. And the longest winning streak owns to Michigan by 9, but Ohio State is also currently on an 8-game winning streak in the series. So hopefully, given what Ohio State's team is looking like, I think they will make that 9th win and then maybe even carry it on. I would also agree with Tommy here. I just didn't want us to have the two of the same with the Yankees and the Red Sox. I definitely think they're the biggest rivalry, at least in baseball. The one thing that Tommy didn't mention, on which I don't think he wanted to, considering he is the biggest Yankees fan, is back in 2004 in the ALCS when the Yankees were up 3-0, and Boston carried back and wound up winning that series 4-3, and then won the World Series in 4. It kills me to say this, being a Yankees fan I am, but I think that is definitely the biggest turn that rivalry has taken, and it's definitely heated everything up. And I mean, I definitely agree with all of you. I also have the Celtics and Lakers on my list. I didn't have Duke and UNC, but I mean, I watch their games every year. And I remember watching that game last year when it finished in overtime and they lost, or UNC lost by 2. And Duke wound up winning on a buzzer beater, if I am correct.
I think they tied the game off a buzzer beater.
I think you're right.
They might have, too. I remember the ending was crazy. Something happened.
Yes. All of these are good rivalries. I mean, if anyone has any other ones to throw out, I guess the floor is open.
Yeah, I have a couple to throw out, but before I go ahead, the 2004 is also a great series for the Red Sox, and you also think back to 2018 when they beat the Yankees 3-1, and then they go sing "New York, New York" in the locker room, trolling the Yankees, and then they go ahead and win the World Series.
The game before that, the Yankees were singing "Sweet Caroline." So let's not give the credit to the Red Sox for stealing the idea, because the Yankees did it first.
Yeah, Judge was carrying the boombox past the Red Sox clubhouse.
You made them mad, and they won a World Series.
Yeah, but let's go back.
I'm really mad.
You guys are forgetting. Now, the Yankees did not win the World Series that year, but
the Red Sox did.
Yeah, no, not in 2003.
2018, I'm talking about.
Right. No, I know, but I want
2003.
Yeah, I want to back up to our current manager, Aaron Boone, hitting one of the best home runs in Yankee history.
Aaron Boone, the leadoff.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't get much more historic than that. Well, I mean, it definitely does, because we lost the World Series to the Marlins, but you got to give us that one too.
Okay, that's fair, but yeah, I have a few more to throw out. I want to point out some sports that we don't talk about as much on the show. So first, I'm going to Spain in Real Madrid versus Barcelona. The rivalry is literally called El Clásico, which means the classic. I mean, the matchup between these two teams are always heated. It's always competitive, and it's something that both fans on each side look forward to every year, crushing Real Madrid or crushing Barcelona. So that's definitely a rivalry that you have to look out for. Really heated. And I'm also going to go to hockey. I'm going with the Toronto Maple Leafs versus the Boston Bruins. Especially recently, they've made the playoffs for like the past 3 years in a row, and it's been so heated. Each series has gone to 7 games in the past 3 years. Boston has won the series all 3 times in a row, and the rivalry has not stopped since. A lot of things have happened even during the regular season since then. And my last thing, I'm picking the Dallas Cowboys versus all the haters against Dallas. It doesn't matter which team. It could be the Eagles. It could be the Giants. It could be the 49ers. It could be the Packers. Any team. Let's be honest. You either love the Dallas Cowboys or you either hate the Dallas Cowboys. So it's Dallas versus the haters. And there are a lot of haters, but there are also a lot of people that love the Dallas Cowboys. So I think that is also one of the best rivalries in all of sports history, just because of how polarizing and how popular the Dallas Cowboys are. Let's be honest, on every sports talk show, it's all about Dallas. You always have one person who's for Dallas and one person who's against Dallas. It's one of the best rivalries of all time, even though it's technically not 2 teams against each other, but I'm just leaving that out there. You
Can
have
we
to
have someone though go through our videos right now and give us a tally of how many times Mike has mentioned the Dallas Cowboys? We've already got 2 this episode, and I think we've talked about them at least once an episode. So if someone can pause this video right now and go through and look for all of the other times when Mike has mentioned the Cowboys and get back to us, that would be awesome.
I mean, in Mike's defense, we could tally the Yankees. The Yankees will be much more.
Like, be quiet. Like, come on. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, but the Yankees are relevant.
Are you saying the Cowboys aren't relevant, the most valuable sports franchise ever? Gosh.
All right,
Yeah,
let's
the
take a time out. Whoa, Tommy. Whoa. Can I just get through?
This is why baseball isn't coming back. This is why
It is coming back.
it's not coming back.
Let's rail it back in. I'm
All right.
going to
No
give another
Cowboys.
rivalry that I think swings under the radar sometimes. That is baseball. It's the Subway Series. It's the Yankees and the Mets.
Hey,
I went to
don't
a
get excited,
I went
Mike.
to a Mets and Yankees game a couple years ago, and the Yankees were down the entire game. And then the Mets wound up coming back, or the Yankees wound up coming back and beating the Mets. And I remember as we were leaving the stadium, all the Yankees fans that were there were cheering, "Let's go Yankees!" And all the Mets fans were saying, "F the Yankees, F the Yankees," the entire time for like an hour outside the stadium. And no, it may not be to the realm of the Yankees and the Red Sox or the Giants and the Dodgers, but it's that rivalry, it's that crosstown rivalry, and I really think that is one of the biggest rivalries in sports, and those are the games that a lot of New Yorkers at least look forward to.
I agree. And Connor, the anniversary of that game was actually yesterday. It happened 2 years ago yesterday.
It did.
And I posted that on my Yankee Twitter account, by the way, if you want to go and follow that.
I will
At
follow
Yankees
that.
opening day. We would appreciate that. But
I just want to mention one thing. Oh my gosh. As a Mets fan, there's no team I hate more than the Yankees. Listen, the Subway Series
Because you can't be better than them.
The Subway Series definitely does not have the historical importance that the Yankees and the Red Sox do. But I don't know. As a Mets fan, I feel like the hatred between Yankees and Mets fans are larger than the hatred between Yankees and Red Sox fans. Like, if you come to me and if Tommy walks up to me and I didn't know Tommy is wearing a Yankees shirt and he tries talking to me about baseball, I'm just completely over it because he's a Yankees fan personally. But, oh, man, I hate the Yankees, and that was a great point, Connor.
I can attest to that. I've been to both the Yankees Red Sox game and the Yankees Mets game, and I was sitting right next to a Red Sox fan, and there was no problems whatsoever as the Yankees blew them out 11-6.
100%.
When we're at a Yankees Mets game, I'm a 16-year-old kid there sitting at this game, and I'm getting cursed out by these Mets fans when I'm cheering for my team. It's the hatred definitely boils through with the New Yorkers.
Mets fans hate no one more than Yankees fans. Like, it's horrible. Like, especially as a Cowboys fan, I think I hate Yankees fans more than I hate Eagles fans. Like, my roommate last year, he was an Eagles fan. We were like really good friends, Yankees fans, I have a bunch of Yankees fans. I just can't stand baseball season. They're always so good. They're always so good. That's what makes it so hard. Like, they are always so good. Even when Derek Jeter was older and A-Rod was older, they still found a way to be above 500. They haven't been below 500 in years. I mean,
It's over 20 years, yeah.
Matt,
20 years. I mean,
right.
give me a break. I'm so tired of this. The Yankees being good.
It's why you convert.
Let's sway it back over to Matt.
Over my dead body. My dead body.
Mike, stop talking.
All right, I think this is a boxing match we need to have Tommy versus Mike.
That would be something else.
Yeah, it would. I want to shout out this rivalry. Obviously, it's pretty biased, but the history of it is all right. Mike. All right, the history of this is incredible. It's the Packers and Bears, probably the most historic NFL matchup ever. They've met 200 times. Pretty wild how it landed on 200, but Packers lead that 99-95 to 6. Obviously, Packers are the better team. Let's just be real. This is the most historic matchup dating back to 1921. Both these teams are winning teams, and, I'm surprised to say that about the Bears. I personally hate the Bears so much. But obviously, Titletown USA, don't need to say no more. 13 championships, 4 Super Bowls. And then the Bears also have 9 championships and 1 Super Bowl. And also something to know, there's 65 members in the Hall of Fame. The Bears do have 3 more than the Packers, but that's no big deal, Let's see. Notable games. All right. I got a lot of lists of notable games. 2011 NFC Championship. Obviously, that's what put the Packers to the Super Bowl. Obviously, they won the Super Bowl. I mean, it's the Packers. They don't lose Super Bowls. 2018 Sunday Night Football opener. Talked about this before. Aaron Rodgers gets hurt. Bears go up 20-0. Khalil Mack's the biggest thing ever. Blah, blah, blah.
Sure, and then they gave him a 2019 season opener, and it was a snooze fest.
Okay, we don't need to – I'll get to that later, all right? Obviously, Rodgers comes back, demolishes – or, well, not demolishes, but comes back 24-23. We go to 2014. This is when Aaron Rodgers demolishes the Bears 55-14. He tied the NFL record, throwing 6 touchdowns in the first half. I mean, I could go on and on, but I really don't think I need to keep talking about the Packers, or Mike's probably going to, Mike's going to blow or something. And I just want to say, lastly, yes, I know the Packers have been dominating lately, but it's still a game that you can't sleep on. Even I get nightmares about the Bears winning. With these rivalries, it happens. And obviously, not every game is going to be, the most fun game. I get that this past year was a snooze fest. I don't blame you. I was about to sleep and spark while I was watching it. But, yeah, I just wanted to say that.
I feel like
have any other last-minute rivalries to throw out, or any comments that anyone has said?
I feel like that with the Packers Bears, it's kind of hard because the Bears haven't been good in a while. You know what I mean? The Packers just dominate.
They were 12-4 2 years ago.
Oh my God!
They were 11-5, 10-6. I mean, and how many times did the Packers beat them that year? Did the Bears beat them twice that year? Do you remember, Matt?
I think so.
I mean, besides that one year.
Oh, wait, because that was Rodgers' comeback year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 2018. Yeah, so it was 1-1.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it hasn't been as prevalent in the past decade or so because the Bears have not been good. But if you want to look at football rivalry, look at Cowboys Steelers, how many times they met in the Super Bowl. I mean,
that's the 3rd time Cowboys have come up just today.
That's past news though. They don't have any really big games anymore. Obviously,
I'm done.
They can't handle that
mentioning the team in the center of Texas because Connor has a counter on me right now. Apparently, I talk about this team too much. Gosh.
Yeah.
But I think another good one. Oh, sorry. What were you saying?
Oh, Tom, you go ahead.
Oh, I think another very notable one is Syracuse and Georgetown in basketball. We don't see that as much anymore, obviously, because Syracuse, they're in the ACC now instead of the Big East. But back in the day, those were some great matchups. Definitely had a lot of great games. And I think they're playing this year, right, Matt?
I think so. They do play pretty often. I think 2 years ago, Tyus Battle hit a game winner to win the game. So they've still had some connections that kept them close. Obviously, with Ewing as their coach and Boeheim as Syracuse's, they connect with each other.
For sure.
Well, also Syracuse UConn when they both were in the Big East too. I think that's a good rivalry as well. Not on the level as these other ones, but 6 overtime game, hard to beat that.
Definitely. Is that all right? Wrap everything up.
Yeah.
All right. Next, we will have questions from our viewers. Welcome back to Goat Chat. If you guys follow us on Instagram, well, start off. If you don't, just follow us now.
What are you doing?
I know. What the heck? But yesterday I put on our story. We want to hear questions from you guys. So here are some questions. Thank you guys for sending them in. If you didn't send in a question next time, send in a question. It's not that hard. First one is from Nate Griffith. Who is a better fit for the Celtics, Kemba or Kyrie?
Why don't we start with the Celtics fan down here and Mike, and then Tom, the rest of us can answer.
I mean, this answer is obvious. It's Kemba. You know, the Celtics are flourishing this year without Kyrie. I think he's a toxic personality in the locker room, and I don't think that he has the capability of being the number one option on a championship contending team. And you saw that last year in Boston. I thought that they were going to win the finals last year, but I feel like Kyrie held Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown back. While this year with Kemba on the team, I mean, Kemba and Kyrie, they have like the same usage rate when they were on the Celtics, but something has changed to the point where Jason Tatum is allowed to average 30 points a game in the month of February, and Jaylen Brown is now averaging over 20 points a game, and they're both rising stars in this league. So Kemba is definitely the better fit. He's allowed the team to open up and have the ball move around a little smoother. What do you guys think, Connor?
Yeah, I'm just, you pretty much touched on it all. I'm gonna agree with you. It's definitely Kemba. Kyrie, I think, is overall the better basketball player, but you would rather have Kemba in your locker room. So I believe Kemba's the better fit for Boston. Tommy?
I agree. I think that, like you said, Kyrie, I think, is probably the better player overall, but he can't be causing problems within the team. So for that, I'd give it to Kemba.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. Kyrie was toxic. That's all I have to say. All right, next question, also from Nate Griffith. 1995-96 Bulls or 73-9 Warriors team? Mike?
Bulls. I mean, listen, if you want to compare the 16-17 Warriors or the 17-18 Warriors when they had Kevin Durant, then maybe we could start talking, but don't compare any team with Michael Jordan to a team with only Steph, Clay, and Draymond. Yeah, they had Iggy. Yeah, they had Harrison Barnes, but they didn't have much outside of that. Michael Jordan is just going to toast them. They have Scottie Pippen, Ron Harper, play some good defense on Steph Curry. I just don't think it's comparable. The 95-96 Bulls are the best team of all time.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree. It's the 95-96 Bulls. There's, again, Mike pretty much touched on it all. But I mean, the Warriors that year when they went 73-9, I don't even think they won the finals.
No, yeah, they lost the title. They lost the title. They blew a 3-1 lead, 3-1.
Maybe if they had the postseason that they did the year after when they went 16-1, maybe this would be a different conversation. But I mean, it's the Chicago Bulls for me, no doubt. Tommy?
Yeah, it's going to be the Bulls for me too, because you look at that lineup, I mean, they had so many good guys on that team from 1 to 5. I mean, you could take out people and they would still be dominant. Maybe not to the level that they were, but that was a really strong team. So, and obviously so are the Warriors, but I think I'm going to have to go with the Bulls.
Yeah, I'm taking the Bulls. MJ all day. All right.
He's the best player of all time. I mean, come on.
Episode number 23. All right. Next question is from Arbuetti11. If you could play one sport for the rest of your life, what would it be? Who wants to start with this? Tommy, let's start.
It's an easy one for me. I'm going to have to go with baseball.
What happened? I thought you were a good bowler in high school, man.
I know, but if I was good at baseball, I would want to play baseball my whole life. But yeah, if it's like what I'm good at, it would definitely be bowling. And that's a sport that you can play forever too. But I just love baseball and I'm missing it a lot right now. So that's the one I'd go with.
I'm gonna go with another sport that you can play for the rest of your life. I've been playing it a lot recently. I started playing it my senior year of high school. It's golf. Uh, I love playing golf. It's so fun just to be out in nature. I mean, yes, I played a bunch of sports in high school. I was a baseball player. I played basketball, football, but I think golf has always stuck with me, and it's something that I can do for the rest of my life, and it's something that I enjoy. So if I had to do something, it would definitely be golf. Mike?
Um, I've been a hockey player my whole life. Like all this stuff right here, just a bunch of awards I've gotten from playing hockey. But I'm not sure. It's kind of hard because playing hockey is a lot harder than playing a lot of sports. You got to go to the rink. You got to, get dressed well. I feel you would have to be between hockey and basketball. I love playing basketball. You just like I have a park near me and just walk to the park, play with a bunch of my friends that live in my street. So it would probably be hockey or basketball for me.
Yeah, mine's basketball. Like you said, just go to the park or even outside. I have a net. I just play basketball all day. That's literally what I do. This question's from Sal Saunders. Will the Buffalo Bills win the Super Bowl this year? Don't ask Matt. He will just say no. That is why I'm going to say hard no.
Yeah, it's a no. I could see them making the playoffs and maybe down the line in a few years, a Super Bowl. But this year, it's just not it. It's a no, Sounders.
No, what are you thinking? Just no. Just Josh Allen is your quarterback. I mean, come on. Tommy, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm gonna say no too. But you never know, like with the situation we're in right now, if the season shortened and things are a little different, maybe they sneak in there. I don't know.
No.
I
Well,
don't wanna discount the question, but yeah, it's gonna be a no probably.
what was I gonna say? Well, the NFL is thinking about shortening the preseason now, which I think they should do anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Bills aren't winning the Super Bowl. You heard it here first and last. So no.
I tell him that every day. He still doesn't listen. So, Dan says, who will have a better career, Daniel Jones or Dwayne Haskins? If you guys don't know, Daniel Jones is quarterback for the Giants. Dwayne Haskins is for the Redskins. Mike?
I'm going to go Daniel Jones.
Connor.
Sorry, that's my bad. I just kind of jumped in. I'm going to go Daniel Jones. I just think he's more pro ready. Yes, they both have a year under their belt. I think he is more pro ready though. And I mean, we saw the immaturity from Dwayne Haskins last year when the Redskins had won a game and they had to take a snap the knee at the end of the game with a backup quarterback because he was too busy taking pictures with fans. And yes, like that's a small thing, but it just shows the immaturity there. And where I think Daniel Jones really stepped into a situation in New York that wasn't great and gave the Giants a few wins that season. So I think Daniel Jones is going to have a better career.
I don't know. I think it's a tough question to ask because I think Daniel Jones is in a much better situation. He has Saquon in the backfield, Evan Ingram, Sterling Shepard, and that's not a ton, but it's more than what Dwayne Haskins has. So I think I'll take Daniel Jones just because of the situation. And I don't think that the Redskins fully believe in Dwayne Haskins as of right now. I think he, down the stretch of last season, he started to play a lot better, start to play safer with the ball. But if Daniel Jones continues this trend where he's turning over the ball at an alarming rate, where he's fumbling the ball and throwing a lot of picks, then I'll take Dwayne Haskins. But if Daniel Jones can fix that, and it seems like he has because according to some reports, he added 9 pounds of muscle in the offseason. He's leaner and meaner. So we'll see. But I think I'll have to go with Dwayne Haskins based on what I saw last year.
Tommy?
At first, I was going to go with Dwayne Haskins. I think he's a very talented player. But I think that the Giants are just in a better position to put a good team around Daniel Jones. So I think that overall in his career, Jones will have more success in terms of championships and wins overall. But I still think that Haskins will have a pretty decent career. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Daniel Jones as well.
I'm gonna disagree with you guys. I'm gonna go Dwayne Haskins. I totally understand that Daniel Jones has Saquon Barkley and obviously a better team around him. But if you think about it, Dwayne Haskins has Terry McLaurin, Scary Terry, as my friend calls him. And also, I think that something you can note about Dwayne Haskins is he obviously had a pretty toxic. I mean, their head coaching staff and the organization in general, it's been pretty bad this past year. And I think that bringing in Rivera can help him a little. I want to say that he could be like Cam Newton, but I mean, time will tell, obviously. I'm not like a genius over here. I'm not Albert Einstein or anything.
You're
But
not like Boetti.
no, I'm not Buetti.
There you go.
I
There you
was. But I think that he could 100% be like Cam Newton. I think I'm not sold on Daniel Jones. I just am not a fan. But
Well, I think one thing about Dwayne Haskins, you said he would be like Cam Newton, but I don't think he has nearly the same running ability as Cam Newton. I think he's more of a pocket passer. Honestly, I think Daniel Jones can probably run a little bit better than Dwayne Haskins, but I think they both are mobile. But regardless of that, again, I have to go with Dwayne Haskins. He has an experienced head coach coming in, while the Giants have a special teams coach coming in to become a head coach. Joe Judge sounds fantastic on the podium, but we got to see what he can do on the football field.
Yeah. And I saw that Haskins was working out too, so I'm very interested to see what he brings to the table. But another NFL question we have is from Richard_Rodriguez 123. What NFL team is a sleeper pick to make the playoffs?
I'll have to go with the Arizona Cardinals. I think they had a fantastic draft. Isaiah Simmons fell to them at pick number 8. He's just such a stud on defense. He doesn't have a particular position. He just plays defense. He ran like under a 4.4 if I'm not mistaken at the combine. And not only that, but the Cardinals did improve their offensive line through the draft by drafting Josh Jones and through free agency. And let's not forget, they just traded for DeAndre Hopkins, one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, like top 3 easily, him, Michael Thomas, and Julio Jones. But I think they could be a sleeper team. They were already pretty good last year, but I think that's a sleeper team for the playoffs.
Connor?
I can agree with Arizona. I'm going to go with – I have a few teams here. It's hard to decide. I could go with the Cincinnati Bengals because of Joe Burrow and the quarterback or the receivers that they added. But I'm also thinking of going with the Carolina Panthers with Teddy Bridgewater and editing Robbie Anderson and still having Christian McCaffrey there. It's especially now with the new NFL format where there's now 7 teams going in from each conference. It's tough, but I think my ultimate team I think I'm going to go with is the Carolina Panthers.
Tommy, do you have any sleepers?
I'm going to go with the Raiders, I think. I know that they haven't done well as of late, but they have that new stadium and, they're trying to make it work. So I think that they might be able to sneak in there.
I think
I like that pick.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you all credit to that. I mean, bringing in Henry Ruggs in the draft, the wide receiver from Bama, obviously, I don't know who's the best wide receiver, but any wide receiver in that draft is a good wide receiver, in my opinion. So I could see that happening. I also can agree with the Bengals. I think that's going to be a very big stretch, though. Mike, I said a very big stretch. I can agree with the Cardinals, too. I said that in our previous episode that I think that they could sneak into the playoffs. But I'm thinking I got to think big, Oh, the Detroit Lions. That's the team that I was going to say. Listen, Matt Stafford, before he got hurt last year, he was putting up very good numbers. I mean, I was just looking this up the other day because I was making my own QB ranks. Maybe we'll see that later in another episode. Stay tuned. But I was thinking about my QB ranks, and he could have been a top 5 quarterback if he kept going on with the season that he had until he had those injuries. But that's obviously a big stretch. I said that was a big one. Got to go big or go home. If I'm right, I look very good. If I'm wrong, I could just blame it on something else. So I'm gonna go with the Detroit Lions, even though they're my rival too.
I think
I
I'll
think
take here really quick on Matt Stafford. He always puts up solid numbers year in, year out. I think if he was on a different team, I think he'd have a Super Bowl ring. You can call that a hot take if you will, but I think if he was on a different team with a better system, he'd be a Super Bowl champion.
I mean, I'm not sure about Super Bowl champion, but he definitely he might. But to say that he will is, I think, a bit of a stretch. But I just want to mention one thing. When the Bengals, I mean, what do they do on defense? Their defense is horrible too. Yeah, they drafted Joe Burrow and T. Higgins, but you still have to stop the other team from scoring too. Listen, I like Joe Burrow, but he did have the best college season ever last year, but he only did it for 1 year. Listen, he's not going to come in there and make a 2-14 team a playoff contender, and T. Higgins won't do the same. And for the Panthers, I think that their defense needs to get better too in their secondary. I don't think Teddy Bridgewater is going to change life. And I think two teams that you guys left out is the Jets and the Browns. I'm surprised you didn't mention them, Connor, probably because you don't look at them as much of a sleeper. I think the Jets and the Browns could definitely be in the AFC playoffs.
I was thinking the Jets, but I don't know. I don't want to be too much of a homer. I definitely think the Jets they're going to have a good team. Everyone was calling for Adam Gase's head last year, and they were a 7-9 team. They were a middle of the line team there, and then they added the offensive line help that they needed to, and they bolstered up their secondary. And hopefully they're going to get C.J. Mosley and Avery Williamson back at the middle linebacker position. It's going to be a solid team there. And with the line being able to play hopefully better, considering they bolstered that up, Le'Veon Bell is going to have a better season. It's going to be a good team there.
Sam Darnold needs to stay healthy.
Yeah, he needs to not come down with an ankle injury or mono.
Oh.
Yeah, he just needs to stop seeing ghosts, and maybe it'll do something. But moving into our last question, I like this question a lot. It's from Justin Avella. What's the greatest what if in sports history? Who wants to go first with this?
So I can go first. So I had two. I'm not going to steal Tommy's because I know what Tommy's going to say. But my other one is from the 2017 NFL Draft, and it is what if the Chicago Bears took Patrick Mahomes at 2 rather than letting him drop to 10?
Or even Deshaun Watson. Either or.
Patrick Mahomes, because, I mean, you think Patrick Mahomes now is probably the best quarterback in the NFL, arguably the best quarterback in the NFL, and he just won a Super Bowl. He's been to the AFC Championship game twice in three seasons. If Chicago had taken him at 2017, it would be completely different. And I think that's my biggest what if in sports.
Tommy?
Well, this is a very easy one for me because it's so recent. What if the 2017 Houston Astros didn't cheat? For so many reasons, right?
Oh, my.
They robbed the Yankees of a chance at the World Series. They haven't made in 11 years now. They were just one win away. And all 4 games that they lost in the ALCS were in Houston, the only place that they were cheating. Now, also we have to recognize that the Yankees barely scored at all in that series in Houston. So that definitely played a big role in it. But the Dodgers, they were an incredible team. That series also went 7 games. I think you can look at that. And you just wonder if the Astros would have even been in that position anyway if they didn't cheat in all 81 of their home games. So that's obviously very disappointing. The most recent, so that's the biggest what if for me.
What about
Why
you,
are
Mike?
shaking your head, Mike?
I mean, they were a really talented team regardless, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but if you know every single pitch that's coming, Mike.
We look at the spring training numbers from this year. I looked at them up today when I was looking this, and Alex Bregman was hitting under 200. So was Jose.
What, so you're saying Alex Bregman is going to get demoted to AAA this season?
I'm not saying that at all. But when he doesn't have that buzzer on the side of his chest or hearing that trash can in the dugout, his numbers are going to fall. They're not going to be the stars that they were from 2017, 2018, or 2019.
You know, we'll see. Hopefully, they can come out and perform well. So
You just give us your biggest
shut
what if
up.
sports.
Okay, yeah. Well, I actually have two, and they're both regarding with a key piece leaving a team. So first, I'm gonna go with what if Michael Jordan did not retire and go play baseball? Would the Bulls would have won 8 championships in a row, or even more? What if Michael Jordan didn't retire after Phil got fired? What if Phil was never fired? There's so many what ifs with that team, and the fact about that is there were so many questions about that team, and things went so right for them. I mean, they had 2 3-peats, and things could have been a lot better if Phil never got fired, if MJ never retired twice. So I think that's a big what if. And also, what if Jimmy Johnson never got fired by Jerry Jones? They won 2 championships in a row. Jimmy Johnson gets fired. Jerry Jones wants the spotlight. I mean, the Cowboys, they were just they were a dynasty in the making, and it's sad to see Jerry Jones make such a egregious mistake firing Jimmy Johnson. I mean, they did win 1 title the year after. I forgot the coach who they hired. It's going to come to me in like 2 seconds, but yeah, I think it's a shame. And also, really quickly, Brendan Roy, what if he never got hurt? He was an absolute star. I'll throw that out there. So, Matt, what do you think?
Going back to the Patrick Mahomes thing, I would hate my life if that happened. You know, it's such a Bears move to do. But anyway, I'm going back to the 2005 draft. Aaron Rodgers was projected first.
Ooh.
Be picked by the 49ers. What if Aaron Rodgers was picked over Alex Smith? First off, personally, I would hate that. But the 49ers, they've won 4 out of 5 Super Bowls. So I think that they obviously would have won more. They would have beat the Ravens in that Super Bowl.
Well, that was Kaepernick came in and stepped in for Alex Smith. It wasn't Alex Smith playing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but still, if it was Rodgers would take him to so many more Super Bowls. But, you know, obviously everything happens for a reason. We're chilling. My other one was, what if Mario Lemieux never got cancer? He was one of the best hockey players. I don't think he would have surpassed any Wayne Gretzky being the GOAT of hockey. But
what if Wayne Gretzky never left the Oilers? That's one you could talk about.
I saw it. What if Wayne Gretzky never? Oh well, yeah, that's what it was, I think. But I don't know. Yeah. So those are mine.
I think the thing about Rodgers to the 49ers, I think being under Brett Favre for 3 years and them like fixing like his release under Mike McCarthy, I think that's a big reason to why Aaron Rodgers is a player today. And who knows, if he was in San Francisco, he could be the same player he is today. We'll never know. So that is a great what if, I think. Yeah. You guys have any other comments?
Pretty sad. These are all great. These are all unfortunately we can't live sports in the past with the what ifs. We can't place Aaron Rodgers onto the 49ers.
I don't want it to happen. I don't want it to happen.
We can't put Patrick Mahomes on the Bears.
I don't want it to happen.
We can't tell the Houston Astros not to cheat. But I mean,
well, they could have done that, but they were like, nah, we'll let him win it.
I think all of these are great situations, and I think we all had some great ideas.
I got one more what if. What if Dez caught it? He caught it. What if the refs got it right? What if the refs got it right?
Tuning into Go Chat. Thank you guys, everyone, for the questions. We're gonna ask again, hopefully coming up. Not soon, but maybe like 10 more episodes. We'll see.
Don't forget to vote for the Go of the Week. We'll be posting a poll after this episode comes out Thursday at 1 p.m.
Yeah, so thank you guys for supporting us. Thank you all for the questions. Don't forget to subscribe, follow us on Instagram. Do everything that we tell you to do. Listen to your parents and listen to us.
Basically the same.
We'll see you guys on Monday.